What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone's having a good day going into the weekend. It's been a while since I've done a video regarding music, vice versa. I've just been real busy. I haven't been seen since since the Soft Parade release on February 13th, so it's been 2 months. And I'm just doing this video to kind of get everyone up to speed. My sincerely apologies to everyone that I didn't get a chance to thank them. I know I thanked a few people, but I didn't go on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff and thank everyone like we usually do. I've just been so swamped with work, and a couple of things happened along the way. Not bad, but just life, you know. And and I know everyone understands because we all work, we all provide for our families, and people that don't have no families, they provide for themselves. So I'm pretty sure you guys understand that. But just want to take this time to thank all of you guys so much for sticking around this long. And I know some people had messaged me and told me about the Soft Parade and said, you know what, like from beginning to end, that album is great. It's awesome. And some people reminded them of a movie from beginning to end. And it was basically like a movie. I didn't realize it until a friend of mine had told me, dude, it reminds me of a movie from beginning to end. And once he said that, quite a few people had told me, like, hey, this reminds me of a movie. Like, it's just so well put together. And like I've said, I've done the recordings, the features that I've gotten from artists from all over the place, all over the US. They would send me their vocals. I would put them together just like anyone would do, you know. But for me, it was an experience. It's a learning process. So I've seen this stuff as a child. I've seen people done the recordings. I've seen people done it on 8 tracks. I've seen people done it on Microsoft computers, the oldest computers you could ever see. Old programs that don't even exist anymore, seeing their vocals, where they put them. So I got to see a lot of that. And that's why when I started working on the Man in Black, I was still learning. I was still adjusting. I was still learning how to put vocals together. I mean, I didn't say I don't know what I was doing, but as far as mixing, as far as making it sound clean, making it what it should be, you know. And that's why the longevity comes into play, is seeing other people do it, seeing them how they do it, and learning from them, and from watching it from a karaoke machine to a boom box to doing it on a freaking iPad where I'm doing my recordings on this video, or this thing I'm working on, or I'm doing this video is from an iPad, is where I do my recordings. So it's come a long way. I can honestly say it's come a long way. It's came a long way. And I'm just very grateful, and that we're still doing it. You know, that we're still doing it, and the passion is still there. Just like I've said, I've been away for 2.5 months. Excuse me. You know, because of work and also the music too. It really took a toll on me mentally, emotionally, and lyrically, because of the work that we do, and also being on the road. It does take a toll too, but that's all part of sacrifices. That's all part of the things that we do to provide for our families and things like that. So that's all part of that cycle. And like I've said, this is for everyone that listened to it, that gave me their honest feedback, right or wrong. There's no right or wrong. You know, all feedback is good, you know, and that's what counts. That's what counts as an artist. That's what counts as a musician, producer, engineer, whatever it is. we always want that feedback, right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. It's good, it's bad, or it's, hey, you know what, you need to work on this. I think this one here. That's all part of being a musician. It's all part of being a musician. The Alamo. I went to San Antonio, Texas, where the Alamo was at. Really nice place. Um, I think that's why the Texans don't like California as much, or don't like them at all. I don't know. But when we went, everybody was like giving us that face, like, hey, you know what? I wasn't here. I was taking over this place, you know. But hey, all that stuff still lives in America to this day. All that negativity and all that stuff will never go away. It's gonna be here till we're no longer here. But going off subject, but yeah, the album Saw Parade was so great to me. It was so great to me. The recordings, putting everything together, the movie skits, all of it. It really did really well. And not only that I recorded it, but put so much effort into it, so much passion, so much hard work into it, to where I'm already 2 months in and I haven't even recorded anything, because it really took a toll on me. And rightfully so, as any project should. You know, to put your hard work, to put your passion, as they say, your blood, sweat, and tears. For me, I'm doing it all in the truck. So I can't have the AC on, I can't have the fan on, I can't even have the windows down, because trucks beside me, whether I'm at a rest area or at a truck stop, at Love's or Pilot, you got trucks that are still on. Their APUs, which is their AC batteries in the back of the truck, are on. So you have a lot of noise. So you can't have anything on, because if you do, you're going to have noise. So sometimes I would do it with, with nothing on. With nothing on, no fans, no nothing. So as you could say sweat, yes, I could say sweat, yes. The good thing about that is that truck stops have showers, so I was able to shower once I was done. So, but that's all part of the process. That's all part of the passion. That's why the music that we do, and not only just me, on behalf of Two Face Entertainment, Ghetto Ballin', and Fly Entertainment, anyone. That's what the passion is all about. That's what passion comes with, is those type of scenarios, those type of situations. Me, I'm very fortunate to be able to do music outside of home, because when you're home, you can't do music when you're home. It's family time. I'm not gonna go back here and do a recording session while my family's here. It just doesn't work. You can't do that. That's a big no-no. That's why I was very fortunate. Not to say that the work I do gives me time. Yeah, it does give me time, because when I'm on the road, that's my time. That's my time. That's my job. But also too, it gives me the time to record. And when I come home, music is I don't worry about music. Maybe a few times I'll be on this iPad or whatever, because like I said, I do my music and my recordings here. I'll maybe fix the vocals, give it a little bit of boost, whatever. And that's it. But I don't go and record here. The only time I recorded here was when I recorded the song with me and my two sons. The song Coming For You, which my vocals were already done, but I just had them lay the hook right here in the living room. And like in 2 or 3 takes, they finished it. They got it. So, which was special, because I didn't have them on the truck or driving to Dallas or wherever. It was here at home. It was a spread of the moment, and it worked out. So that's where the passion comes in. That's where the creativity, that's where the mental state, the lyrical state. And that's why I'm very fortunate to do the things that I do. It's a sacrifice, yes, of course, but you benefit from it. You benefit from it. And as long as you have that faith and you have that passion, nothing can stop you and nothing can take it away from you. So, and that's really what the Saw Parade was all about. The Saw Parade was basically a movie. And a lot of people said that it reminded them of a movie from beginning to end. The intro itself was from The Matrix. I'm pretty sure you guys heard it, Mr. Anderson, who, it's Neo, Keanu Reeves. So I chose that intro. I chose that intro specifically because it just made sense to what we do. A lot of people are not gonna like what you do. A lot of people, as the key word hate, I hate using that word because hate, you're a hater, oh, that's a hater. It's so cliche. It's used so many times. It don't have to be necessarily music. You could be a skateboarder, you could be a DJ, you could be a drummer, you could be a graffiti artist, you could be a breakdancer, you could be an actor, you can even fucking build furniture, you can do whatever. Hate is used in so many different levels. And the intro that I chose for the record, it just pretty much tells a story. You're continuing, like it's deeper. Of course, The Matrix is, one of the greatest films, but I chose that scene because it just tells a story. It just tells, why do you persist? Just give up. Give up. Don't stop fighting. And that's why I chose that particular scene. And when Keanu Reeves says, or Neo says, because I choose to, that's why I chose that. That's why I chose that intro and specifically, and that's why my intros, I try to avoid doing intros, but I enjoy them because it introduces the record. And then we go into the Lion's Cage. The Lion's Cage was originally for the Lion's Cage EP. The Saw Parade was technically only 6 songs, almost like The Man in Black. The Lion's Cage was going to be the Lion's Cage EP, and I already had a cover for it. But the Lion's Cage was the last song added to the record. So that was thrown in there to give it a fuller effect, to give it a fuller album. And the Lion's Cage is just more on the lyrical side. It's more on the lyrical side. The beat has a West Coast feel, which something I wanted to do was to bring it back home. And rightfully so, I did. And then, the Lion's Cage was just on the lyrical West Coast thing. And that's what I wanted to do. Certain beats on that record, I get them from Beat Apps. And Beat Apps. I go through it, I purchase them, go from there. Then Coming For You, which is one of the favorites for everyone. Everyone's favorite is Coming For You, that featured my sons, Aaron and Julian, Bucky and Bill, which that's what we call them, Bucky and Bill. That one was everyone's favorite. That one was originally based off of Nightmare on Elm Street and also DMX, X is Coming. So, and DMX is one of my favorite artists. Rest in peace to him. Coming For You, like I said, I was talking about it earlier. We did it here in the living room. Spread of the moment thing. But that one was one of my favorites. And listening to DMX, X is Coming, it gave me that feel because he's talking about some real stuff. like some real deep stuff. Like, if you really pay attention to the lyrics, he's really talking some deep, deep stuff. And not really knowing too much of Nightmare on Elm Street. I love horror movies, but that was one of the movies I didn't really get fond of. Now that I'm older, I'll be able to watch them, but not to say I was scared of watching them, but it just didn't really, it didn't really sit on me like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, Evil Dead, like certain classical movies. Hellraiser was one of them that didn't really catch my attention. But Nightmare on Elm Street, listening to the, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, and then DMX, 1, 2, X is coming for you. And then the beat coming for you was done by Rails the Postman from Fly Entertainment, him and his brother Cristobal the Vision out in Petersburg, Virginia. One love to you guys. That beat, going off subject, he had a bunch of beats. He had a bunch of beats on an SD card. And he was in his Kanye West mode from like 2009. I think those beats were 2012, 2013, around there. And he couldn't find that SD card for 2.5 years. And it come to find out it was underneath his bed. So he had some beats. He gave me about 5 or 6. And that's one thing about Postman. He shows the absolute love. Shows the absolute love and respect for everyone. Never have I ever had any arguments. Never have I had any discussions, disagreements. Maybe once, but it didn't lead to that. It was just like, oh, we'll try this. And that's what it's all about. So he had a bunch of beats. He had over like 300 beats, 500 beats. When he was in his Kanye West mode, he never went out for the summer. He spent 2 summers in his house doing beats. So finally he found that SD card, which was underneath his bed. Gave me a bunch of beats, and most of them are on the Soft Parade. And Coming For You is one of the ones he did. And I saw that beat, I heard it, and I was like, this one's perfect. So right away I thought of 1, 2, X is coming for you. Right away I thought of DMX. I thought of Nightmare on Elm Street. But I was like, well, I can't use the same thing for the hook. So it's 1, 2, Vegas coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your doors. 5, 6, hip hop with a twist. 7, 8, please don't hate. I had to change it because I didn't want it to sound. But when people heard it, right away they thought of Nightmare on Elm Street. My mom was one of them. A few people thought like, oh, that's from Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, and when I had the kids do it, it just made him even more better. And my youngest one, Aaron, heard The Man in Black. He liked that album. I thought I could have done better on it, but he liked it so much to where he wanted to do a song. And he kept asking me, Dad, I want to get on a song with you. I want to get a song with you. I'm like, it's 2024. It wasn't like it was back then where you get your kids on a song and, oh, that's tight, that's tight. Now the times have changed. Everyone is so sensitive. I'm like, I don't know, because if I get you on a song and someone hears it, then CPS or whoever is going to come and report me. And, everything is so sensitive now. So I was like, you know what? It's my son. I told him, you know what? Wait, just give me time. So that hook, it just came quick. I thought about it quick. I said, you know what? I'll just do it. I tried to do it. It didn't sound right. So I ended up coming home, and my son again, Dad, I want to get on a song with you. And I said, you know what? Screw it. I told my oldest, I said, hey, you want to get on a song? He's like, yeah. Which, he's already going to be 18, so he's like, whatever. My youngest, he's so amped up for it. So I said, okay. He sat back here. Actually, yeah, right here. We sat right there in that little desk, and we We sat right there on the carpet. I told him, this is what I want you guys to say. Say it twice. Say it again. Say, ad-lib your parts. Say certain parts. And they did it in 2 or 3 takes. They actually enjoyed it. And I mixed and mastered it. And it becoming a favorite. And my mom loved it. Everyone loved it. That was one of their most favorite songs out of the whole record. And so that's why we want to do a video for it. So that's a little story on that. Then we have Hip Hop Avengers, which was the spirit of the moment. That one was really one of everyone's favorite too. To say that every song on there, on that record, was good, it was great. To me, it was great. Every song was done right. Every song had a meaning. Hip Hop Avengers feature Rails the Postman, Cristobal the Vision, which the brothers from Petersburg, Virginia, Jarai from South Carolina, Will Escargot, he's out there from Boston, and Come Create with Il Bada. Il Bada is from originally from Jersey, now living in Atlanta, Georgia. That beat was also from Postman, which he had in that SD card that was underneath his bed for 2.5 years. So every beat that I will mention is from that SD card. So that beat, it just fits so perfect. And I said to myself, well, you know what? Should I do a solo? No, I need to have these guys, because on the Men in Black, I had Bada, I had Jarai, I had Will Escargot on Too Much to Handle, which they were, Jarai and Will Escargot were the second to last on that song. Bada, Come Create with Obada was second. When I did the Too Much to Handle, it was me, Bada, Post, and then Chris, and then everyone else came in after. So I said, you know what? I want to do a song with them. And you can't get any better than the top 6. And the way that we did that, Postman was like, you know what? No, let's try this. You and Bada have the most energy, have the highest energy. The vocals will put you on the trumpets. And us will stay on beat. So once the trumpets hit, you two are the strongest vocals. You guys have the highest vocals, the energy, the toughness, the hard vocals will put you on there. And it worked out. It just worked out, and it sounded so perfect. And then the ending, the comedian, I think that's from Dolomite. I think it's from Dolomite. I'm not exactly sure where it's from, but that's where the movies and the skits come from, because it fits. Actually, no, take that back. No, that was on Lemon Cake. My bad. That is from an old movie where supposedly the man that is a superhero. And a lot of those stuff that I see, I run into them on Instagram. Certain sketch, people do memes and all that stuff. So that skit came across, and I said, you know what? I'm going to use that because it's Hip Hop Avengers. And of course, it has a comedy in it. And when people heard it, they were like, oh man, that was funny. It was so well put together. So that's why Hip Hop Avengers sounded the way it did. And then Rock and Roll, which is the 4th song, Rock and Roll Crown Me, that beat was also done by Postman on that SD card. That one in particular was that was probably one of the most realist, emotional songs I've ever written, besides the one I wrote for my sons. I wrote a song for my sons that I haven't recorded. I would say those two are probably one of the most emotional songs I've ever written. The Rock and Roll Crown Me, rock and roll is rock and roll, right? Crown Me, I put that in there because of what I've written. Basically, crown me. Crown me because I brought in a whole new light to the sock parade. Rock and roll, crown me is basically talking about my depression. It's talking about my depression and how the music that I've mentioned, the bands, the songs, when I say, as the world turns, I let my music and my doobie burn. We're not supposed to smoke weed. It's not for everyone. But when I do, I don't use it to abuse it. I use it not to escape. I use it to relax. I don't, CBD, THC, half and half, I'm good. I don't do it to act stupid or be stupid. I do it to relax. So that's why I say when the world turns, I let my music and my doobie burn. When will they learn that I'm the mastermind as I carry this urn? As I carry this urn, meaning I carried my sister's urn. I've carried my grandmother's urn. I've carried my grandfather's urn. I've carried my Aunt Carmen, which was my grandfather's sister. I've carried her coffin. So, a lot of things are in those details. And when I say I'm the mastermind as I carry this urn, as strong-minded as I am, but you get weak at your certain points. And when I say I'm swimming in the ocean as I'm reaching for shore, I'm just tripping off the Mango Steezy as I listen to the Doors. It's Mango Steezy, or Mango Steezy. It's a little THC CBD pen. It's a gram. Mango. I'm not in the ocean drowning. It's just in my mind. Because I'm listening to the Doors, but I'm trying to swim for shore. I'm trying to get out of this thing that we have, this thing that we go through in life. As I'm listening to the Doors, Pink Floyd is on the mix. Pink Floyd is, as you could see, Pink Floyd, The Dark Side of the Moon, is one of the bands that relieves my depression. Because we all have depression, we just handle it differently. So when I say Pink Floyd is on the mix, my mind is on the bliss. Am I tripping, or is just part of the trip of the spliff? Am I tripping of the music, or is just of what I'm inhaling? Take a trip, or am I tripping off the spliff? Do I take it easy, or let the dark side get me? The dark side of the moon. Because when you listen to that stoned, you get a different feel from it. I have. It's not easy. It gets real trippy. So it could take me to another dimension. To another dimension, it takes you to another world. Could you say it's depression? We really don't know. Come on. It's depression. I just said that. I said that when I say, could you say it's depression? We really don't know. I'm basically lying to myself. Oh, no, it's not depression, when really that's what we all say. It's not depression. When in reality, that's what it is. So I'm just going to drive slow. Drive slow, Kanye West. And let it roll. And let the trees grow. Let the trees go, let life take you. So I'm just going to drive slow and let it roll and let it flow. That's what I said. And let it flow. And let the trees grow. And let my brain go into a psychedelic mind. Psychedelic, of course, you already know what it is, what it does. I'm a Rolling Stone as the Doors painted black. I'm a Rolling Stone painted black, the Rolling Stones. The witchy woman on the other side reaching for my stash. Witchy woman, the Eagles. A song called Witchy Woman. As I take my stash, I sip on that strange brew. Strange Brew is by Cream, which is the first album. Disarelli Gears, which was the first album Cream has ever put out. As I take my stash, I sip on that strange brew. The bad moon is rising, and I'm in love with Susie Q. The bad moon rising, CCR. Susie Q, CCR. And then at the intro, the chorus is a skit from Ozzy Osbourne, which talks about the bubbles and all that stuff. You know, it's funny. And then I turn to Black Sabbath. Damn, it's a habit. Black Sabbath I got to see Black Sabbath on their last tour in San Jose at the Shark Tank in San Jose, California. I got to see them with my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, my two brother-in-laws, and my friend Juanito. We got to see Black Sabbath, which was their last tour together. I turned to Black Sabbath, damn, it's a habit. I'm with Jefferson on his airplane, sniffing on the White Rabbit. Jefferson Airplane, White Rabbit, which is one of the most iconic songs ever. Straight 60s, you know, talking about drugs, but I use it in my music to describe it. I'm with Jefferson on his airplane, sniffing on the White Rabbit. I look across, I see Jude, and I say, hey. But she's focused on her bugs, and I believe it's the Beatles. Hey Jude, the Beatles. But she's focused on her bugs, and I believe it's the Beatles. Their sound is so lethal. I'm dazed and confused, there's a stairway to heaven. I'm dazed and confused, Led Zeppelin. Stairway to Heaven, Led Zeppelin. One of the most two iconic songs ever. I'm dazed and confused, there's a stairway to heaven. Can we get there in a second? But I'm running against the wind. Running against the wind, Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. And you can blame Bob Seger. I'm face to face with death and I don't fear the Reaper. I'm face to face with death and I don't fear the Reaper. Don't Fear the Reaper by Blue Oyster Cult, which is more cowbell. On the Saturday Night Live skit, more cowbell. That's Blue Oyster Cult. This crazy train is moving. Ozzy Osbourne, Crazy Train, which is, I believe, on Blizzard of Oz. I believe it's the first album. I believe it's the first album of Ozzy Osbourne. Blizzard of Oz, I believe. Yeah. This crazy train is moving. I see Janie crying. Janie Crying is a song by Van Halen, which is on the first album. Or no, Van Halen 2, I think. I see Janie crying, but she's running with the devil. Van Halen, running with the devil. I see Janie crying, but she's running with the devil. But there's something in the way. There's always something in the way, right? There's always something in the way of life. It don't necessarily be the devil, but I'm saying, but there's something in the way. Something in the Way by Nirvana, which is on the first album, Nevermind, which was the last song of that record, which is used on the Batman movie, the one with the one from the guy from Twilight. I keep forgetting his name, but that's the song they use, which I've heard that song way before Batman. But there's something in the way. She says it's brain damage because of the eclipse. Brain Damage and Eclipse are the last two songs of Pink Floyd, The Dark Side of the Moon, which is probably one of the best last two songs ever. Talks about life, talks about everything. Eclipse is probably one of the most favorite songs that gets to me because it talks about life, death, love, hate, succeed, failure, everything. Because of the eclipse, the last thing she saw was a star and blew a kiss. The last thing she saw was a star and blew a kiss. Paul Stanley from Kiss. Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, Peter Criss, and Ace Frehley. Paul Stanley was with the star and with the red lipstick. Now I go into, as I exit the train, there's a new kid in town. New Kid in Town is by the Eagles. As I exit the train, there's a new kid in town. As I look across the way, the sun shines on the bay. This must be my journey. Sunshine Across the Bay is by The Lights. His Journey, song title The Lights. When the lights go down in the city, as the sun shines on the bay. As I exit the train, there's a new kid in town. As I look across the way, the sun shines on the bay. This must be my journey. Journey. Don't stop believing. Wheel in the sky. The lights. And that's when I say, as the sun shines on the bay, this must be my journey. I'll always break on through to the other side. The doors. I'll always break on through to the other side of the doors of perception. The doors of perception, when the doors are open. It could be life, it could be a psychedelic, it could be whatever. So that's how that song came about, because those artists, those songs, those bands, those things helped me. That's when I said, crown me. Rock and roll, crown me. I created something. I created a story from beginning to end. If we were to put that in a music video, it'd go nuts. It would go nuts. So that's why that Rock and Roll Crown Me came about. And in the Soft Parade, the Soft Parade is just talking about what I feel. You know, what I feel. And that song, like I said, the Soft Parade, I've said this on the interview with my uncle regarding it. It's about the Doors. The Soft Parade is 1, the Doors, Strange Days, Waiting for the Sun, the Soft Parade, which is the 4th album, which people said it was their least favorite because it was just all over the place. And then Morrison Hotel was 5th, and then LA Woman was 6th. 6 studio albums put together, plus the live and all that stuff. So the Soft Parade was based on that, because the song title, The Soft Parade, is one of my favorites. So that's why I decided to do the pay homage to Jim Morrison for the picture where I'm, with my arms spread out and everything. So that's how that came about. And that's why I chose The Soft Parade, and why that song, or that album, The Doors, is one of my favorite bands. Then we go into I'm Dope, which is featured Samson the Poet. Samson the Poet writes everything. He writes his own poetry. So I chose that as a song that I needed to do. Something that we don't necessarily have to rap, or it's just spoken words. And the way he came with it was just explaining what he sees in life, what he sees outside. And me, I went into a whole different direction with it. I went into a whole nother direction with it, and just explaining what I feel, what I see, what we have to do in life, the sacrifices we say, the sacrifices we do. We all have to do it, and we all have to get better at what we do. We all make mistakes, but never burn your bridges. You know what I mean? There's lessons learned, but never burn your bridges. So that's really what it's all about, is explaining about life. Then Lemon Cake, which was just a whole lyrical thing. It was just a whole lyrical thing with me, Rails the Postman, and Cristobal the Vision. Like I said, they're brothers from Petersburg, Virginia, the label Fly Entertainment. That beat was not mine. That was from another site. The Soft Parade was also from another site. It wasn't a Postman beat. Rock and Roll Crown Me was a Postman beat. That one, I know I'm going back, but Rock and Roll Crown Me, he did that beat. He was going to use it, but he felt like he couldn't have Like he felt there was nothing for him to write about on that one. So he gave it to me along with the SD card with the beats. So when I did that song, he was like, "Wow, dude, like there was no way I could have done that. There was no way I could have did a song like that. Like that's how creative and that's how special that song is." So going into Lemon Cake, that one was just, you know, just going off the mind, just going in it, which I think Cristobal took that song because when I heard it, you know, heard it well, I heard it all the way through. I was like, man, this guy really, went in, and we all did. But Chris, I think he kind of went in for the kill, so and rightfully so. Then West Coast King Kong, that one was just strictly West Coast, off the rails, bringing it back home. King Kong was not the 1930 version, the 1970 where he's on the World Trade Center. I took that skit from that movie where he's busting through the wooden gates. I chose that because it made more sense, you know. So that's where I'm at when it comes to movies and music. So West Coast King Kong, you can listen to that. You know what I mean? It was more of a like I said, a West Coast feel. A West Coast feel. Gave it that sound. You can listen to that on a Sunday. It's just a straight West Coast feel. You know what I mean? Gold D's, Gold and Chrome Dayton's. Just cruise. You know what I mean? Just a cruise song. Just a banger. Just a West Coast banger. Then we go into Route 66. Route 66, I want to say, is probably one of the most songs that's been under the radar. Under the radar. It's so lyrical. It's so like, it's one of those songs that I know I'm not the only one, but it's one of the songs that you feel like that one was that one was the underdog. And that one, I'm just going off the rails. I'm just going off the mind, going off the tempo, just bar after bar after bar, lyric. And Postman did that song too. So most of those songs, Postman did. And that one, Route 66, was originally done on Route 66. Not the original highway, but the interstates. From Illinois to Missouri, Oklahoma City, Dallas, California, Nevada, Arizona. So those main roads, the interstates, that was done during that time. So that's why I titled it Route 66, because it meant a lot. It meant a lot to me. So when I did it, it just fit perfect. And then we go into the picture show. Oh, no, actually, no. We go into Lethal Injection. Lethal Injection, which was featured Rails the Postman, Cristobal the Vision, and my uncle the Grindhouse. That one, Lethal Injection, was a beat that I took from a website. Of course, I paid for it. But that one was to get my uncle out of semi-retirement. And that one we did at his house. I did the recording, he did the recording, but the brothers, they sent me the vocals and I put it all together and everything, so forth. We did that in my cousin's room, and it was hot that day, so we were just getting it back, getting that old school, that old school feel, doing it in the closet, having the microphone there, making sure there's no dogs barking, no kids yelling. It was just an old school feel, old school feel. Felt like home, the way we did it. Just overall, just that old school feeling. And when we did it, like I said, I did the mixing, I did everything, and then and it came out good. It came out good. Everyone liked that one. That was another one that was, in a sense, under the radar, but it was a good song. It was a good song. We went 12 bars, boom, 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 just great, just a great song. And then we go into the picture show. which also was which was everyone's favorite too, because it was a song that me and my uncle did together, and we haven't done a song together in 10 years. Yuko, get over here, my dog. We haven't done a song together in 10 years. The last song we did was in 2014, which was Terminal, which was the first mixtape. So we haven't done a song in 10 years together, just us. So I was going through the beats, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go with something different. So I was here at home. I was on my day off. And I was watching the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Featured Tim Curry, Susan Sarandon, Richard O'Brien, which is known as Riff Raff. It's a 1975 film. And it's about this couple, Susan Sarandon, and I'm trying to figure out the name. I don't know his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. But they're engaged. They're on their way to I don't know where. It's raining. They get a flat. And they go into this castle. And Richard O'Brien plays Riff Raff, which he wrote the entire soundtrack for Rocky Horror Picture Show. 1975. So the movie is about a transvestite, which his name is Dr. Frankfurter, which is played by Tim Curry, who played Pennywise in the movie It. It's like Grease. It's a classical movie. It's a musical, a movie. You figure in 1975, if they were to play that movie now, people would tarnish it. It's one of my favorite movies. It's a little like, whoa, but it's a good movie. And I'm not homophobic. So it's a great movie. I put that along with Grease because Grease is a good movie. It's a good musical, good classical musical movie. They will never make the Rocky Horror Picture Show again in this lifetime. In 1975, it was ahead of its time. So I was watching Rocky Horror Picture Show, drinking my coffee like I am right now. And I'm like, there's certain scenes in here that I'm like, man. So I went through my beats, I went through the site, and I found the perfect beat. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take certain scenes from this movie. And it fits so perfect. The intro, I got it from Quentin Tarantino, which is the Grindhouse movies, Planet Terror and Death Proof. The scenes in the beginning, the intro actually is my uncle's son and his cousin, which made it seem like they're going into an old theater, the traffic around. I added all of that. I added everything to it. The intro, I took the piece from it, I put it together. We did that in the room. And we had his TV up, and we put it full blast, and we put YouTube street sounds. So we played it while they were both together in front of the microphone getting their tickets. So the intro and the rated R with the tiger yelling, that's from back in the day. So a lot of those scenes from Rocky Horror Picture Show, I put it together, and he helped me out, my uncle helped me out, and we pieced it together. So that's how that came about, the picture show. And when I showed him the beat, he called me and says, hey, you know what? He was already like 12 bars in, which is almost 16 is a full verse. 16 bars is one verse. And finally, when we got together, we recorded that song, and it was just a masterpiece. So then the ending was so perfect. As soon as the door closes, the Saw Parade's over. So that's why that album really took a toll on me. And that's why the picture show was the ending of the album. It was basically, like they said, it was a movie from beginning to end. And that is why That is why that album really took a toll. And you could see why. Just talking about it, it was just magical. It was just magical. And that's why I feel like there'll never be another Soft Parade. If I were to do a Soft Parade 2, it would have to be like Lil Wayne trying to top the Carter, or trying to top the Carter 3 or the Carter 4. It's been thought about, but I rather leave that alone. I rather leave the Soft Parade name alone because like I said, it references the Doors, and it also represents us. It represents us and the passion that we have for it. So that's why the Soft Parade is what it is, and that's why the picture show was so perfect, because my uncle originally had someone planned to be on it, but I said it's best if we do a song together because it's been over 10 years since no one has heard us together. So that's why we decided to do us, and it worked out so well. And that is why the Soft Parade sounds the way it does, and I think that's why a lot of people really acknowledged it, and they were like, dude, like this record is like flawless, like, because of the effort and the passion and the dedication, and it's all mental. So that's why the Soft Parade is what it is, and I'm glad everyone liked it. And I really appreciate you guys, like I've said before, appreciate you guys tuning in and checking out the interviews on the Two Face Entertainment podcast, and also my music as well, and all of our music that we are affiliated with. And like I said, it means a lot. And like I said, I wanted to do this video explaining everything. Hopefully I got everything out. And I really appreciate you guys sticking around, and hopefully you guys stick around for another 10, 15, 20 years. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys so much, and one love to you guys. Thank you.